Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome back to my channel. I am Sarah of Sarah's Prismatic Musings, and today will be kind of a catch up with me, what I've been doing, what I've been watching, what's been going on, what I've been reading. So, as you noticed from my intro, that's Bob's welcoming hello, on that 70s show and now on the remake of that 90s show. And I was so excited to finally watch a comedy on Netflix, and that was that 90s show. I was really surprised to see Wilmer Valderrama, sorry if I butchered his last name, back as Fez, as he's done so many interviews saying that he would never revive the role again. And he was in it the most. I mean, the main dude, Topher Grace, was only in it like the first episode, and he was the main character. So it's interesting that Wilmer, not only signed on, but he was in multiple episodes. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. He's hilarious. I love Fez. I love that character. He's one of my favorite characters. I would have liked to have seen more of Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. I love them together. I think it would have been awesome to see Ashton Kutcher's, the first child he had, to have had her in the show as well, not just his son, which is son Jay. Reminds me, he's like a mix of Joey Russo from Blossom and Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World. So the characters, the kids in the show, it was fun to see the way they were dressed and the music they were listening to and the movies, and just, the little cut segments with the kids like dancing with very 90s themes. It was fun. That aspect of the show was fun. I thought a lot of the jokes were really cringe. Even for Deborah Jo Roop, her jokes, like her opening joke with Leah, her granddaughter, was so cringe. I was like, ugh. I didn't think the jokes were as funny in that 90s show. It was fun for nostalgia purposes only. That 70s show is just timeless and classic, and just, it's so fun to watch. That cast of characters, it made more sense to me. Where that 90s show, the jokes were cringe for the most part, especially when they had Bob singing to Leah on her 15th birthday and not realizing, even as he's singing, what he's singing, and not stopping, like singing Boyz II Men, I'll Make Love to You, to your granddaughter. Super, super disturbing, and I did not find it funny. So points were deducted for that. But Kitty Foreman and Red were classic, and I love them. Kitty and Red are awesome. It was nice to see that they didn't have Kitty have as much of a drinking problem. She, was just enjoying her adult beverages, but not to excess like in later seasons of that 70s show. She kind of, developed an alcohol problem. So that was nice to see that they evolve that character where she gets it under control. She enjoys, but she's not drunk. And just seeing Red and Kitty still in love is great. The cast of the, the young kids, they were fine, but there was nothing that like really stood out. Like Fez, it was hilarious. And just the whole interaction of the cast in that 70s show was awesome. But anyway, enough of that. Plus, you know what? Laugh tracks seem so jarring now, especially watching shows without laugh tracks and, saying filmed in front of a live studio audience. So it's kind of annoying that they put the laugh track on there. I didn't think it was necessary. Watching comedy on Netflix is a little weird. It was okay. It was enjoyable, but I wouldn't say it's at the level of that 70s show. I have also read already this year, we're in the last week of January, I've already read 6 books. I have read The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. I only gave that 2 stars. I already returned the book to the library. I had gotten like a bunch of library books at the last few weeks of December before I made my whole no library books for 2023 or no buying any more books. That book was a short little book. I think it was only like 200 pages, and it was really a setup for books 2 and 3. I have a feeling that this author really should have just kept the book as one long book, even if it was 400, 500, 600 pages. I think it would have flowed better. She is having 2 more books come out to make it a trilogy, and I have no desire to read it. I don't like when authors try to do that gimmick of getting people to buy 3 books in a series, or I have to go to the library 2 more times. No. Or and wait. I don't care. I don't care about the story. I don't care about the characters. There was so much potential and so many cool things that this book kind of set up in this world. However, I just don't like that gimmick, so I'm out. Peace out. I won't be reading books 2 and 3, Susan. Shame on you. Second book was another disappointment. It was called Making the Ordinary Extraordinary by Tamara Lucid. Now, this is about this woman who I guess was in a punk rock band back in the 90s, and her husband liked to go to Manly P. Hall's lectures back in like the late 80s, early 90s. I'm not sure when exactly it was. Yeah, late 80s, or she's saying early 80s, whatever. I don't know. I don't care. I am so disappointed in Inner Traditions, which I usually love Inner Traditions, and they are a small little independent kind of publisher, and they're located in Vermont, and usually they put out really good quality occult and new age books that I really respect. This book is not one of them. This book needed major editing. It needed somebody to just completely rip it apart. This woman, I guess, has turned into a writer, and I have to say, I thought this book was self-published. Grammar mistakes, just sentences that didn't make sense, too much name dropping. She wrote, I don't know who she wrote to, because most of the people in Manly P. Hall's camp are probably well into their 80s or deceased already. You know, Manly P. Hall is deceased, and she makes some claims that she could maybe potentially get in trouble for, with plagiarism and things like that. I think the book was, I gave it 1 star. I don't know. The only reason I got through it is because it was such a short little book. It was only 185 pages. Like I said, I don't know who the book was written for. I don't know who the audience was supposed to be. It was just a lot of name dropping and her grandizing herself and her husband, that they're just so badass and so cool, and that they got to hang out with Manly P. Hall and his wife. Like, who cares? So what? You know, and when you have these public figures who create these like cult-like groups around them, yeah, there's fractions and there's division and infighting, and things fall apart usually when they're deceased, once they pass away. Nothing new to the story. Manly P. Hall had an amazing knowledge of occult history and occult information, and he had this great center in Hollywood, California. Cool. Other than that, who cares, right? So 1 star for that one. The next book I read was Vasa in the Night by Sarah Porter. So I'm going to do another video on this. This book was decent. It's a retelling of Vasilisa the Beautiful. It's a Russian folk tale that's kind of like the Russian take of Cinderella, except having mice to help Cinderella. This story, Vasilisa has a little wooden doll named Erg who helps her. So this is mystical, magical realism, and it takes place in Brooklyn, New York, not deep in the forest in, you know, the Russian countryside. So this one was a decent book. Another book that I almost did not finish is Find Your Unicorn in Space. I saw this book last year at Unity of Phoenix in their bookstore, and I just love the cover, and I love the title, and I love that it's about creativity. Now, I almost did not finish it around, I think it was like 185. Let's see what was on that. Okay, so this is about sharing your creativity with the world, connecting with your community. I'm not sure why that was so boring to me, but I just found it really boring. I'm going to do an in-depth review about this one. I gave this one a 2.5 star. There's some good information, but it's for a very niche group, which I'll go over later. And I reread this book. This is the first tarot book I read, and it comes with as a kit. It came with this book. It came with a miniature Thoth tarot deck and a miniature Rider-Waite. Now the Thoth deck that came with this, I burnt it. That's my first Thoth deck that I burned, and I still have the original Rider-Waite that came with it. Now this book is excellent if you want to learn the tarot. It has a really good intro to tarot and comparing each deck to each other, so you can learn both at the same time. So this is the Rider-Waite Hermit, and then this is the Thoth Hermit. So this book is really interesting. It doesn't go into depth about a lot of things. You have to read other books, but it was a good reread. That's a solid, you know, solid book. And that's a 3.5 star book. I deducted some points because I feel like some of the topics she discusses needs more detail. It leaves a lot of questions, but that's good. Questions are good because then you can go find tarot books that are specifically about those questions. So it's a solid 3.5 star book. I'm also reading on Kindle right now Daisy Jones and the Six, plus listening to it on audibles. I heard so many good things about this book on BookTube that I've tried listening to it and reading the book on multiple occasions, and I have to tell you, I just can't get into it. I don't like that it's done interview style. I know that it's been made into a TV show or maybe a movie on Amazon Prime. I think it would be better that way rather than a book, because it's the story about this band, Daisy Jones and the Six. However, because it is an ensemble and the way it's being done through interviews. So you have these 7 different voices, maybe 8, 9 different people talking and answering the same questions. I'm not liking the flow. There's not really a story per se, and I'm not digging it. I'm also reading on Kindle right now this book called Bunny, and that one it's a little trippy. It's like dark academia. It's pretty. I'm 100 pages in, and I'm more enthralled with that of what's happening and how it's happening, and I want to keep reading. So that book is maybe going to be so far like the best book. And I'm also reading another tarot book right now. Don't remember the name, but I'm sure there'll be a review video coming up on that. It's just, I have so many books going right now. And we also went to the Tucson Gem Show yesterday. We went to this one place that was supposed to have art. Well, we get there and it was just jewelry making workshops. So that was a bust. And then we ended up going to Kino Sports Complex, which that's where I highly recommend. Welcome to Tucson Gem Festival at Kino Sports Complex. We've never gone on opening weekend before for the Kino Sports Complex. We usually go the last weekend. Opening weekend was insanely busy. It was so crowded. The lines were crazy. We may be going back. I picked up some things that I can gift to people if they come get a reading or have some Reiki energy work done with me for next Saturday at the Sierra Vista Small Business Market. So I'm really excited to be able to give some gifts out. I always think that's just like a nice touch, and then I'll have some crystals for sale. If that goes well, I'm gonna go back and pick up some more so that I can sell. I really need to work on getting my business license, but you need to make money first. I feel, I haven't made any money. I'm really excited and really happy with how my live tarot readings went last Thursday. I just need to say a disclaimer because one of the questions and what was coming up really concerned me. If you're in a dangerous situation or unsafe situation where you're being taken advantage of or abused, please, please, please call your local crisis hotline or go to your women's shelter. Please seek professional help. I am not a mental health counselor, and tarot readings is not a substitute for mental health counseling or it's not a substitute for any professional advice. It's not a substitute for financial advice. It's not a substitute for mental health counseling. It's not a substitute for any of that, okay? So if you're in a really bad situation, please, please, please use your local resources to have the help and support you need. There's hotlines you can call. There's places you can go. Please seek out help from your friends and get somewhere safe. So that was really hard for me. There's only so much you can do with one tarot reading. Know that if somebody is taking advantage of you, you're not the bad person. Don't let people gaslight you. They're the problem. And maybe set up some boundaries, but especially get someplace safe, okay? So I'm gonna try to continue to do live readings because I did have fun. I felt like it was great. I am gonna have moderators set up. There were 2 people who were spamming me with questions. I understood that English wasn't their first language. I don't know if they meant to spam me or they really didn't know how to put in English the question they wanted to ask. But I was getting a little flustered because I was trying to keep track of who was asking me what question and in what order. I was trying to get to everybody, but once I started getting that spammed and getting people like, please, 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 I was like, peace out. I was gonna try to stay on for like an hour and a half, but I cut it to an hour because I don't like that. Nobody likes that. If somebody comes on YouTube and is generous enough to offer free readings, please be respectful of the other people who are getting the readings and the person who's giving the readings, okay? It's really not cool to just keep asking the same question, and especially when you've been acknowledged and you're told to hold on, okay? So that will be nipped in the bud by having moderators, because they will warn the person once, and then if they don't stop the questions or saying please, 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 you'll get blocked. Yeah, and that's just not acceptable, okay? So boundaries are really helpful for everything. And so that is what I've been up to. I'm actually, you know, I'm gonna probably do a comparison of my Law of Attraction planner from 2020 and this one. So for me, with time management, having all of the hours is really helpful to me. I can see how much time I'm wasting. So even though I'm not on social media other than YouTube, I am finding that I'll start researching something and then I'm all of a sudden I'm just watching whatever on YouTube. So now I need to cut back on my YouTube, and I've done really well. We've cut back on our TV. We're only trying to watch about an hour of TV a night, whatever that may be. Right now we're watching I Dream a Genie. We're going to try to watch all 5 seasons, and my friend and neighbor, thank you so much, Denise, bought me the whole series of Bewitched. So we're gonna watch like disc 1 of I Dream a Genie and then disc 1 of Bewitched and then just, you know, so on and so forth. I am just so excited because I've never seen I Dream a Genie or Bewitched continuously. So it's gonna be fun to watch, you know, all 5 seasons of I Dream a Genie and all 8 seasons of Bewitched. I'm really excited, especially to see the later seasons of Bewitched. I know I'm in the minority, but I like the actor who replaced the original character of Samantha's husband, because I just felt like the original character, he was like always kind of yelling at Samantha, and I feel like when they replaced him, that actor wasn't yelling, but maybe I'm misremembering. I mean, I was a kid when I watched the reruns, but we've been painting and drawing and coloring, and it's been fun to be creative like that. In this, I'm keeping track of, you know, how we try to walk every day, so how many miles we walk a day, like how long that takes, how much water I'm drinking, and then detailing, you know, how long I'm reading, what I'm reading, and what I finish. So like for this week, I finished the introduction to tarot. Here's my water intake. Now, here's the only thing is I wish the times, like I could probably black these out. I don't usually, the earliest I get up usually is like 7. So I would like to shift everything until like 11:30, 12 o'clock, because I'm usually up and I have insomnia. So yeah, there, you know, at 5 a.m. I'm usually maybe only been asleep for like an hour and a half. So 5 a.m. wake up for me is not going to happen. And I know that for a lot of these manifesting, they're like, get up at 5. Well, if you go to bed at 3:30, you can't get up at 5. It's not going to happen. I mean, I guess it could if you take naps, but I don't take naps. I can't take naps. Once my brain's awake, it's awake. So it's hard to turn my brain off. But I've been really doing good about my gratitude and meditation and exercising. So keeping track of this has been really helpful to me in a way that when I had this in 2020, working a full-time job plus a part-time job and just not really having any time to myself, having the dates, the hours listed wasn't, you know, it was like work. I was at work all the time. So, but if you run a small business or you're a creative type of person or you have some more free time, then this planner is really helpful for you. All right, guys, thanks for sticking with me for my update on what I've been doing, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.